Hello and welcome to day 2 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing a brand new free Cricut paper craft every day for 20 days. Today we're making these gorgeous side edge greetings cards. Now I hadn't originally planned on doing side edge cards for the Christmas Craft Countdown because I'd already done them in the Halloween Craft Countdown a couple of months ago. However, the feedback I got from these was that you really loved them, and they ended up being one of the most popular projects. So I thought I'd better include them this time too. Here are the designs which are included, and this tutorial video will be quite similar to the one for Halloween, but with one key difference, which is that I'm actually going to show you how to use your scoring tool in your Cricut machine, whereas before I just kind of got up to that step and then said go do it. I had a few comments asking to show the full process, so I've done that in this video. Let's see how to make these cute little side edge cards. If you haven't already registered your free ticket for the Christmas Craft Countdown, go to craftwithsarah.com/CCC to do so. Once registered, check for an email from me with subject line Christmas Craft Countdown ticket information, or any of the other emails from me that you've been sent throughout this countdown. Can't find them? Check your junk or spam box to see if they've gone there by mistake. These emails contain the link to view the countdown projects and download today's files. Scroll down the page to find today's project. Click the button to start the files automatically downloading to your computer or mobile device. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you have missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/CCC bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Christmas Craft Countdown. All downloads come in zip folders. You need to unzip them before you can upload the files into Cricut Design Space. Let's take a closer look at the 5 cards included for this project. The first is the one I'm going to be showing you how to make in this video, but all of them work exactly the same, and that's this gingerbread design. And I've cut my gingerbread from some shiny cards just to give it a little bit of extra sparkle. The second card is this beautiful angel design, and I've used gold mirror card again for the angels to give them a little bit of shine when the light is on them. The third card has different shaped baubles down the side. We've got the circular ones and then the bells, and they've all got little hooks on them because they're Christmas tree ornaments. The fourth one is snowflake design, and I have used a lot of glitter for this card. There's glitter on here, and then all of my snowflakes are glittery as well, so hopefully you can still see them okay. They're not showing up very well on the light, I don't think. And then the final design is this bells one, and I like this one because it doesn't necessarily have to be used for Christmas. It would also potentially work for a wedding card or a christening card or something like that. So it would all depend on the decorations you put down the left-hand side to make it suitable for other occasions. Now we've had a closer look at all the designs, let's go into Cricut Design Space to find out how to make them. After you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, open up Cricut Design Space and start a new project. Go into Upload over on the left-hand side and then Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find the files on your computer or drag and drop them in. The download folder contains 3 separate subfolders. The one we want for Cricut Design Space is the one called SVG files. So double click in there and then you can see the 5 different designs. For this tutorial, I'll show you how to do it with the gingerbread file. So let's click and drag that in. And then it will appear here. Let's just get rid of that. And press Upload. And then click on the design in your recent uploads and press Add to Canvas. It should load in at the correct size, which is 7 inches tall. The width will be a little bit less than 10 inches, and that's just because of the side edge design. Don't worry about that. This is absolutely fine to be left as is, as long as your height comes out at 7. You could cut this as it is, but I like to add a score line so that I know exactly where to fold. To do this, first click on the design and ungroup it by clicking this ungroup button at the top. Then hide the base card by hovering over it in the Layers panel and click the eye next to it. Select everything that's left by pressing Select All and then group these layers, and then we can hide them all at once. This is just a really easy way of doing it, so then we can press the eye next to that base card again, and now we've got all those gingerbread men hidden, which means we can see exactly what we need to do with our score line. Go into Shapes and choose a score line. Set it to the same height of the card, which is 7 inches, and then we need to put this in the middle, so go to Select All and then Align, Center. We need to tell the Cricut we actually want it to do the score line there, and to do that with those same layers selected, go down the bottom of the Layers panel and press Attach. That's all we need to do, so now we can turn the other gingerbread layers back on. They're now appearing below the card, so if I click the card and go Arrange, Center Back, there we go, and now we can just drag that to get it back into position. Okay, this is ready to cut, so I'm going to go and press Make It, and then it will separate out all of the colours. If you want to change the paper size, you can do that down here in the drop downs. Just bear in mind you do need to change it for every single colour. You can also move things about a bit if you want to help fill your card a little bit easier. And then finally, let's change that one too. When you're happy with how it's all looking, press Continue to connect to your Cricut machine. For scoring the card down the middle to make it easier to fold, there are 2 different scoring products you can buy. If you've got a Cricut Explore Air 2 or 3, then you'll want to get this one, which is the Scoring Stylus. So this is kind of a little metal tipped tool, and what this does is it goes in your pen holder and it will score the lines using that one. The benefit of this is that because it goes in the pen holder, you've still got your blades separate, so you can do it all in one go, whereas the other tool I'm about to show you can't do that. This stylus can also be used in the Maker and the Maker 3, so if you have any of those machines, this is a great tool to use. However, if you do have the Maker or the Maker 3, there is a different one available which you can get, which is the scoring wheel. So this one looks a little bit more like your blade. It's got this kind of setting to it. And then the bottom is a wheel, see it spins around. And this one goes into the same hole that your blade goes in, which does mean that you need to take the blade out when you want to score, put the scoring wheel in, it will do the score on your card, and then you need to change it again for the blade. So it does take a little bit longer than using the stylus, as the stylus goes in the other holder, so they just sit next to each other, your stylus and your blade. Whereas this one, you need to put it in that blade holder. If any of that is confusing, then don't worry, because I'm about to show you how to use them both. After you click Continue to connect to your Cricut machine, it will look a bit different depending on what type of Cricut you're using. For example, if you're on the Explore Air 2 or 3, or the Maker or Maker 3. I'm using a Cricut Maker, so that's what my screen will show, but it will be very similar no matter what Cricut you're using. So let's hit Continue, and it'll connect to my machine. And I've clicked on my base card here. I'm going to cut this one first just to show you how to do that score line. I'm using medium weight cardstock, and then it tells me under here what it wants me to load. With the Cricut Maker and Maker 3, you can get a scoring wheel tool for it. You can't use that in the Explore Air 2 or 3. With the Explore Air 2 or 3, you can use a scoring stylus instead, and that one does also work in the Maker and Maker 3. I'll show you that one in a moment, but first we'll look at the scoring wheel. So you can see it tells you everything you need to do here. Load single scoring wheel into clamp B. Let's take a look at what that means. This is what the scoring wheel looks like, and to load it in, you need to open the clamp which says B, and then take out your blade in its holder, and then put the scoring wheel in, press it down, and close the holder up again. Sorry for the shaky footage, it's hard to do one-handed. And then when that's done, you can load your mat in. Once your mat's in, hit the flash and go button, and it will take your material in, bring the little bit with the blades in over to the side, and then it just does a little whir around. It will make a noise, and what it's doing is it's detecting that you have actually put the right scoring tool in. Then it will go over to the middle. It will complete the score line and then stop. There'll be a flashing light, and at that point, look back at your computer screen. Once all the scoring has been finished, your screen changes so that you see this pop-up message. This is telling you to load your blade back into clamp B. So you'd open up clamp B just like you did when you put in the scoring wheel, only this time take out the scoring wheel and put your blade back in the place, close it all up, and then press the go button to continue the cut. To use the scoring stylus instead of the scoring wheel, after you've chosen your material, you would then go into Edit Tools here next to where it says Load Tools and Material. You can then choose the scoring stylus and press Apply. The instructions under here then change. It now says Load Scoring Stylus in Clamp A. This is the hole on the left of the Cricut, so you don't have to take the blade out, you can just leave that where it is. I prefer using the scoring stylus for this reason, because as soon as you hit go on the Cricut, it will do the scoring and then the cutting all in one go without having to pause in the middle to take that scoring wheel out and put the blade back in. So this way it does it all in one smooth go and it's much quicker. Let's see how to put that into the Cricut machine. And remember, if you've got the Explorer 2 or 3, this is your only scoring tool that you can use. So your instructions will probably look like how mine look on the screen now. This is what the scoring stylus looks like, and it goes into clamp A. So open it up and push it down until it sort of clicks and that arrow disappears right in. Close it up again. You can see the blade in the B holder. I've got my material loaded now, so I can press the flashing go button, and this time it works a little bit differently. So this time you'll see it will do the score line first. Here it goes, score line done with that scoring stylus, and then it just goes over to the edge, makes a little whirring noise, but we don't need to change anything because it's just going to carry straight on and do the cutting with the blade that's in the B holder. Much faster and much more efficient. Here is my gingerbread card all cut out, and I've already folded it down that score line. These are really quick and simple to put together. So I'll show you how to do it for this one design, but it works the same for all of my side edge cards. For this one, the little picture pieces have 2 layers to them. Got the white, which makes up the icing, and then the kind of browny cinnamon coloured gingerbread on top. Some of the side edge designs, the little pictures only have 1 layer. So if that's the case, you just don't need to stick them together because there'll only be 1. But this one, there are 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is glue the tops of my gingerbread man to that white layer underneath. And if you're using any of the side edge cards with the 2 layers for the pictures, it is easier to do the gluing first before you start putting them on the card. There's number 1. I'm using my trusty Kalau glue that I use in every video, and it's just so good. Cardstock projects because it doesn't bend or wrinkle the card like some glues can do, and it also dries really quick, which is great because I'm very impatient. I get that on Amazon in the UK. But if you are not from the UK, then other great glue brands to try are Barely Art Glue, and that's spelt like the animal bear with LY on the end, or Art Glitter Glue, and it doesn't actually have any glitter in it. It's just a name, but both of those are great for not wrinkling the cardstock either. Here's my little gingerbread man. Got my card here. And now I'm going to stick these on. I'm using foam squares for this. So my foam squares look like this, but there are lots of different types available, so any of them will do. And it's just to give it a bit of pop and dimension from that base card. I'll put the lid back on my glue. I always forget to do that. And turn my first gingerbread upside down. This is those same foam squares. I've just cut them smaller to fit into these little shapes. So I'll just put 2 on there. And then get him into place. So it should have a nice border of the colour around the side. And if you want to, if you're worried about the placement, you can line them all up on your card before you start sticking and then just take them off one at a time, and then you know that they're all going to fit. The only one out of these Christmas cards from the Christmas Craft Countdown that I'm not going to use the foam on is probably going to be the snowflakes one, just because the snowflakes on it are really thin and I think it would be too hard to get the foam small enough to fit. So for the snowflakes one, I'll probably just glue the snowflakes. But all of the other ones will have a little bit of foam on the back to give them that dimension. You can see how quickly these cards come together. And then there is the gingerbread one all done. I've used a bit of a shiny card for the top level of the gingerbread. You can see my camera light picking it up. And then you can leave it like this if you want to. And remember, the back of the card's got that lovely pattern too. Or you can decorate the left side of the card however you want to give it even more festive cheer. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make these side edge cards with your Cricut machine. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and come back tomorrow for day 3 of the Christmas Craft Countdown. Thank you for watching. Bye!